Here, let Ken get up there. Okay, welcome to the April safety meeting. And, hello? The aircraft manager's calling.
How's everybody else?
Yes, so everybody else. Hello? Hello? Yeah, we're starting, I think. And that includes Bob Pierce.
I'm leaving.
No, you can't. Okay. Welcome to the March Aero Club safety meeting for April. My name is Roger Mann. I'm the safety officer, and Bob Pierce is the manager. And we do have wing safety here.
Hey, Cody.
Cody, I'm sitting here going.
Jackass, answer anything.
Yeah. One of my best friends is Cody. I sit there and I always seem to forget that. And let's see, John Law, what happened to our chief flight instructor? Oh, what are you doing back there?
Discussing some riffraff.
I mean, David G is sitting up here.
John was back there, tied up in the back.
John is in the back. There's something wrong here. I don't know. There's some kind of conspiracy.
This is confusion for tonight.
Yeah, right. So anyhow, for those of you that you're sitting there going, what are you talking about? You're probably in the wrong place, but we suggest that you join the Aero Club anyhow if you haven't done so. Okay, tonight we're going to try to get out of here early. I say that every single time. And Dave back there sits there and so what we do is we try to get done by going through this kind of quickly, so I have an agenda, and I will usually start with new people, okay? People that have not been to this meeting before, okay? Stand up and introduce yourself.
My name's Nick. I'm with the guard across the street. I just got back from New York training for the Reaper, so I'm getting back into my private pilot license training.
Right weather, too.
All right.
Sensor or pilot?
Sensor.
Cool. How long was the training?
It should have been like 6 weeks. Ended up being almost 3 months.
Okay.
Wow. Well, how'd you like it back there?
It was really cold.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the t-shirt weather.
Yeah. Even today here, by the standards back there, this is nice and warm. Yeah. Oh, Ken, you know.
today.
Well, for you, yeah. You're a Southern Californian. Yeah.
I'm not.
Okay. Anybody else? I think Gavin. For Pete's sake, you're new. Wow. Yeah, introduce yourself. Gee, he was?
He's watching Dave.
I don't remember him. Okay.
I couldn't say anything. Take it.
Yeah. Hopefully this computer will continue tonight. I'm having to do this over the net because they still have the cables all disconnected up here. So hopefully we don't get shut down halfway through the meeting. Okay. Let's see. New pilot ratings. Anybody just gotten anything like new pilot rating? It doesn't have to be the Air Force or in the Aero Club. I mean, it can be Air Force. It can be anything. Just get done with a check ride. Solo.
Commercial pilot.
Commercial pilot.
Wow.
You just got it?
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago.
All right. Now that's work. Yeah. Stand up.
Money. Now we're in the money.
Yeah. Now you're broke, right? You have to get a
Yeah,
job.
no, it's a good job.
Yeah. All right.
There's no flying jobs out there.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's kind of a. Okay. Anybody else? Fred? Fred, you just got your CFI back. Yeah.
Never lost.
Well, yeah, I know. You gave it up, so now you got it back. So, yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, those who are qualified pilots can get checked by him now. Malcolm.
I guess something you can all have a chuckle over. I just joined a pilot organization called UFO. Anybody ever heard of it? It's called United Flying Octogenarians. You have to have flown an airplane solo and 80 or better. And I thought there'd be maybe 20, 30 guys in it. They got 1,500 members.
Wow.
There's a bunch of old turkeys flying a problem. Anyway, if any of you are 80 years old, you want to consider it.
So you have to be 80 or above.
You have to have sold an airplane, pilot in command, at or after 80.
Wow.
Anybody
They won't
wants
let
to,
them
I can
put this
in
out.
touch with them.
They won't let them fly all at one time though.
Well, that's pretty neat.
No formation flights.
No formation or. Hey, be nice. Okay. All right, this is where we can tell our story. Anything that's happened in your flying that you might be able to share with us? Malcolm.
Roger, I haven't got, can you talk just a little bit louder?
Well, you could sit up front.
There's no PC there, so I'm sitting here.
Yeah, well,
Trying to figure out who's 80 years old.
yeah.
Touche. I have my translator here, so go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mr. Youngblood will help out a lot. Okay, anybody has done anything new, old? You had, you got your private last meeting, yeah. So we did introduce you on that, yeah.
Bill and I fixed 5.7.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
5.7 guy, guys.
That's
Just
right.
gotta get a pilostatic check and test flights on it. She should be good to go, but no formation flying for ever.
I'm running for Chino on the 3rd.
Yeah.
But she should get the sign off here in the next couple of days and get it up in here.
More discussion on this one.
Can't hear you.
Well, he's going to stand up in a minute.
We're going to fly into the ocean.
Robert.
For new experiences, I started my training for my fast car out at Fullerton with Wings of Valor, and it's quite an experience doing formations, especially with a lot of different types of aircraft.
How you doing with the DC-3 out there?
We'll have it back up and running by the end of the month.
I wish we could have that here in the Aero Club.
That's okay.
Why not? What's the matter, David?
The guy with the wrench in his hand is absolutely related to the DC-3. I was actually up in 234 Whiskey Papa a few months ago when you guys had that oil leak. We were burning oil in the right engine, so I saw you guys coming in to land at 2.7. It was an interesting thing to see it when you were airborne. I half expected a 0 to be like back there somewhere, like sending rounds your
Yeah,
way.
we chased it around with a T6 Texas.
Okay. I asked the tower if you needed assistance. They said negative, so I kept going.
Okay, anybody else?
Got a couple of experiences, wasn't me.
Oh, wasn't? No, but
This
that,
is for the retract drivers. Got a couple of gear incidents over at Fallbrook. One was a Duchess. He made out okay. I rolled the equipment, but his indicators, lights, he has lights. But one that I'm talking about mainly was a beach Baron, not a Baron, a Bonanza. He's a flight instructor, was an examiner, and he had to crank his gear down and he didn't even know which way to turn it.
See the arrows
He
up.
come back, I said, but Joe, I said, you're a flight instructor. I said, do you have a checklist? He said, well, I had it and I hadn't read it. He got and he flew around and finally got the gear down. But,
It only goes one way.
Remember that gear procedure? 37 in the T-34, 37 turns to counterclockwise.
There's a big arrow there. Follow the arrow.
follow the arrow, yeah.
That little detent back up. You would have to unlock it. and have that checklist.
Yeah, well, that's, I could tell you some stories about the 141 and some things happening like that, and some of the weird You know, you'd think you'd know what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, let's see. Okay, Bob's going to talk to us a little bit, and then we're going to go through know your SOPs, and then laser danger is what we're going to be talking about tonight. All right, before we talk to Bob, do you have anything, Cody?
No, I don't.
Wow, that took a lot of thinking there.
I'm getting out half an hour early.
Yeah.
No, Bob will
Well,
take
no,
over for
Bob
you.
still needs to stand up
Well,
yet.
actually, you spelled manager right.
Yeah, I did? Oh, sure.
No more
Also,
major.
I'd like to say on 3-4 Whiskey Papa, we did pick Fred's brain quite a bit on that aircraft too, so there's a lot of help on that, getting that, for 5-7.
Yeah. I really think that you know, that you guys did a bang up job, I'm telling you. You know, and you know, you guys put a lot of time into this thing, trying to get this thing back up in the air, and actually I know Bob did too, because, and I even took pictures of the schematics and went home and studied them, but everything was all messed up, and it wasn't anything like what was in the real airplane. But
Oh, you noticed that?
yeah, but being a former flight engineer in the Air Force, that's the kind of stuff we had to do. Just ask Gavin. I was his flight engineer, so.
Couldn't get him to do it, huh?
Nope, I just sit back there and ask, look it up yourself.
English fixed those.
Yeah, yeah. So, let's see if there's anything, I don't want to miss anything. Okay, Bob, well, I guess you're up. And that is Bob flying that airplane up there.
Yeah, you can do that.
The Beach Bonanza?
Actually, we don't have a whole lot, but I want to talk about maintenance a little bit. As we know, all the T-34s have been down. There's been a lot of issues, been a lot of discussion even on 5.6. Has it been flown properly? Has it not been flown properly? And why do we lose 2 cylinders at 350 hours, which is pretty hard on an overhauled engine? There have been some deep discussions of where we're going to go with the T-34 pilots. We know that each person flies an aircraft a little bit different. We want to get back into some standardization for those airplanes because of the amount of money we have invested in them. The aircraft itself in 5.7 right now, that total bill for that engine is about $36,000. Which is a lot of money. When we reclaim all that, I don't know. Depends on how much it's flown, and there's going to be restrictions on this airplane for the first 15 hours. And that's by the manufacturer of that aircraft, or the engine itself. So there's going to be a lot of unhappy individuals.
25.
Well, I'll cover some of that here. In regards to the T-41As, we've got 2 of them in operation. There being 15 is up there. We're working to get 29 Foxtrot down to Ramona to get the altimeter and the decoder installed and get the combination decoder and altimeter out of that aircraft, and we'll have 2 separate units. And then with a PDOT static check, following that one, we're going to be working on the radios for 29 Foxtrot. I'll bring that one back up for a good aircraft. We want to try and fly that one more than 15. Looking right now, after talking with David G, of switching 6.6 over to 0.3. I'll be shipping the exhaust collector to San Diego along with the muffler, and we'll get that one going. That one has basically had a complete annual. There's just a couple of items we'll be adding to that aircraft. We'll be putting 0.3 back online after it's been offline for a while. We may end up shifting that and then get rid of 6.6 versus 0.3. Those are still up in the air. We still have to get rid of 3 aircraft. So we're holding those aircraft on the side. We've been looking at either 3.5 or 6.9 Romeo right now. That's another issue in regards to which one we want to get rid of, and then it's going to take another 2 to 3 years to get Wright-Patterson to take and accept the aircraft. There's one individual that runs the museum, plus he takes in all the aircraft and makes transfers to the other museums where the aircraft will go. So we're trying to get those across the way without costing us any money. Let's get in with the T-34s on 5.7. The program right now for 5.7 is no long flights, which are going to be involved according to the manufacturer of that. CHTs are going to be a very important issue in regards to this. High-speed climbs for the initial 10 hours before we do another oil change on that one. And the high-speed climbs will keep the CHT down to a bare minimum and not keep them very high. So we're looking at doing a 30-minute, we're going to do a ground test first, and we'll do a 30-minute flight, bring it back. The 30-minute flight is to really see if there's anything that's missing on it or whether we got some oil leaks or not having. Now, it's been run a number of times. It was run at the shop, and the engine sounds excellent. It even sounds better than mine. From there, we're going to go a 1-hour local flight with a rest period, a 1-hour local flight with a rest period, a 1.5-hour local flight with a rest period, a 1.5 hour, and we're going to go to 2 hours and 2 hours, maximum times. We're going to keep those within the area of the base here. And at 10 hours, well, they can do a mineral oil change, and then we'll do another oil change at mineral for 25, and we'll put in regular oil. So that's the program right now. We're working on a checklist to comply with what the manufacturer recommends. And we're going to do that with the recommended manufacturer's recommendation on the break-in and how it's going to be run. One of the things I want to talk about, and it came up in discussion here, is holding a ground school again to ensure that we're all going to be standardized. And standardization is very important in regards to how we operate our aircraft and to keep our maintenance costs down. So that's going to be worked on. We're going to have a checklist for the aircraft itself during this break-in period. How are we going to operate a variable pitch or a constant speed prop? What we're looking at a constant speed prop is that if we're out to take, and what is the purpose of operating the propeller when it's first started up? We got to get oil up into the hub, and we got to flush that oil and make sure that we've got oil that's going in and out of that thing for control. So as soon as the propeller starts to drop in RPM, we want to bring that prop back up to full RPM again. Bring it back, and as soon as you see the RPM start to drop, we bring it back up. We're not going to let it come down 200, 300, or 400 RPM. Those things are causing some issues, we believe, and it's a lot easier on the engine, and it keeps the engine in balance for the break-in periods, and in fact, in all the aircraft. 5.6, we're doing a 6-cylinder change on that. I'm still waiting for minutes from the council meeting. We're into the 6th week on that one. As soon as I get the minutes, those cylinders will come off. They'll go down to Oceanside for an overhaul. That means we're going to re-chrome them, re-bore, and put in new pistons. So we'll start with fresh cylinders and not do what America's Engines has done in the past, which is just kind of honed them out. And then the choke becomes 22 to 27 thousandths when Continental says 4 to 6 thousandths on the choke. So all these things are all variables that have caused issues with us in maintenance. Even though these people are in AFNAFPO, which is the government's contracting business, and they pay to get into that program, whether they do a good job or not, they pay the services people in the Air Force to be in those programs. Well, we're not using some of these manufacturers again and overhaulers. We're going to stay locally where we have better control. Yes, we're paying a higher price for it. The engine in 5.7 started out at $28. We're now at $30,000 for that engine, plus maintenance and overhaul for some of the other things. And the labor has gone up pretty high on it. Those are some of the things. We have some other issues here in regards to the office. Roger and I, and most of us all work on an honest program in regards to having the doors left open or locking and giving certain people ways of getting in to operate aircraft. We used to put the key and we'd hide on the front tire. They can use the key to the aircraft to get the front door open and come in flight plan if we're not there at 8 o'clock. Things are missing off of Roger's desk, and things are missing out of Roger's desk, and that's going to come to a stop. If it continues, then we're going to take and lock the doors, and only certain people will take and get the combination, because we're going to change everything. I don't think it's fair to have things removed when you are paying for it. You're paying it through your dues, and you're paying it through your rental rates. We try and keep those prices down and be very, very competitive to the outside. Things aren't free. I have yet to meet a pilot who forgets to carry a pen with him or a pencil, but it seems like the Aero Club, we never carry those things with us. We leave scratch paper so you can take it out on the flight and write down your weather and etc. But don't take the stuff thinking it's free because it's government material. It's not government material. We pay for it out of our pockets. I've donated cases and cases of paper, and yet we use our printing paper for scratch paper. I'm getting tired of paying $53 a case and donating it to the club to keep our prices down just so we can make a profit and keep alive. So I'm asking for your help in regards to some of these issues, and work with us and try and make something work and make it reasonable for everybody. And I appreciate your time.
What's missing? Pencils?
Pencils, paper, and sticky notes. Sticky notes were on the desk yesterday, now they're gone today.
I'll donate some, I'll bring a bunch of. Bring that
Oh,
bunch back.
these among us, they can stick them, bring them back.
Bring some snakes to us.
Just as a side note,
They should be at 5.7.
there is, anybody, if they want to, they can donate, things to the club. Fred did it before us, and if you have some, try to get some good Rima paper if you can, because we have had donations of Rima paper that got jammed all the time in the printer, but yeah, you can donate anything. That my printer that you guys make copies off of them, that was donated to the club. A lot of stuff that we have in there are donations to the club. We have been running right on the edge, right along. The only reason why we haven't been shut down is because this wing commander, basically said, nobody's going to tell me to shut down my club. So I think he's doing it because he just doesn't, people are telling him to shut the club down, and he doesn't want to do that.
I think they want it open too.
That's not true.
They like it being open.
That's not true.
What's that?
That's not true. There's a big push out of DOD to close all the Aero clubs. In fact, I have word that there's only going to be 2 in the future to remain open. We are not one of them. So we're trying to stay open as long as we can. And I'm not going to mention the 2 that are going to be there, but one of them is in Colorado.
There are 2
So,
bases that are high
It's been in the
profile.
mill ever since
Yeah, this has been in the mill for 10
the
years.
last 3 years. The last 3 years is when the official report came out. And it hasn't been made official here. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. We just hope that there'll be an administration change with a lot of different viewpoints on how the military operates for the future. But we are not scheduled to remain open in this club. So we're hoping.
Financial or security reasons?
Pardon?
Is it financial reasons or security?
Well, there's a lot of money in the Aero Club. There's about $6 billion in insurance money. In assets, there's probably about $60 million, and they all want that money so they can go out and buy something with it. And then you look at cost of accounting and everything else that's involved with all the services. They've already shut down golf courses and they've shut down bowling alleys.
Morale and welfare is going down.
Yeah.
And it's a shame.
It's the lowest
because
thing on the
that
totem
was
pole,
part of
yeah.
part of the fringe benefits that military people had. And what you people with the Civil Air Patrol are enjoying, since you're owned and operated by the Air Force. But don't believe that some of these things stay around forever. The Air Force on this base is running on a tight schedule. I'm sure that Captain Cody can tell you about it. We're all nickel and diamond things. When I buy fuel, I'm buying it by the thousandths of a cent to save money. If I can save $500, that buys 6 tires. And that's how I operate here. And it's really, I haven't got any more hair to pull out, guys. I'm just telling you. It's tight.
$1,000 on that 5.7 within the next 2 months.
Okay.
So keep it flying, we'll keep the money in.
We'll do our best.
And now, if you're doing any kind of donations, like where it involves cash or anything like that, then there has to be a letter written. I write the letter. All you got to do is just sign it, and it has to be approved, especially when it gets anything that's a large amount. Like for instance, my printer, that basically just was bought by the people and just given to us. But there's ways to keep the club going, and like I said, the Air Force just does not see the need to have any of these things around. We have a younger generation now. I don't know how many of you know who General Curtis LeMay is, but he was the guy who started SAC basically and became Chief of Staff of the Air Force in the 60s. And he's the one that started Aero Clubs. 4-star General, Chief of Staff, and he saw a total need for it because, you know, here's these guys that was in one of his hangars on one of the bases that he was on, sitting there fixing an airplane and flying this thing in and out of one of his Air Force bases, and he wanted to know who they were. And when they told him, he says, I think that's a great idea, because people join the Air Force and any part, even the other services, a lot of them go in because they want to be involved with aviation. A lot of people can't become pilots because of a lot of different reasons. Age limit, they overpass that, there are medical reasons, or whatever. And so he wanted to make available an Aero Club to be able to have anybody who wanted to fly be able to come out and fly at a cheap rate. So people didn't have to go on the outside and pay exorbitant prices, and be able to do it within the scope of the Air Force and be under the Air Force safety program too. And that's the benefit that you have being in the Air Force. Now, some guys I run into, there's a couple of pilots I know here who will never join this club because they think have too many rules and regulations. And I'm just going, well, you know, you put up with it with the Air Force. Well, I have to do it in the Air Force. Well, yeah, that's true. But this safety meeting, we try to make it so that we have fun here. This is not the same thing as going to a safety meeting in the Air Force and just ask Cody and Gavin and any of you guys who've been to Air Force safety meetings. This here, we try to make this lighthearted but serious and talking about safety. And so, you know, there's just a lot of things that the Aero Clubs do. But see, today we have a new thought. Most people don't think Aero Clubs are necessary. They're getting rid of Aero Clubs. They're getting rid of these car places where you fix your own car on bases and all these places because they don't see the necessity of it. And so, anyhow, enough said on all that kind of stuff. We are still here, and we still are operating, and let's just move on, you know. And for those of you who are wanting to move up and get your ratings, like, you know, we just got a commercial rating now, just continue on. Just stay with it, and get as far as you can. We got several people. We got one guy, Johansson, who just got accepted on the active duty side as a pilot. So, you know, let's, you know, it's worth doing it, and I know that a lot of you guys want to do that too. Okay, enough said on all that stuff. All right, how many know anything about the safety alert that came out on the airport facilities directory? Apparently they have put the wrong dates on the airport facility directory. And so for those of you that do use that book, be aware that they got the wrong dates. They got it showing as 25 June to 20 August 2015, and that's incorrect. It's supposed to be 30 April to 25 June. And so it's kind of a pretty big error. If anybody wants to see this, I got the safety alert up here.
Those are the green books they have of base-offs?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're not going to reprint them because of the cost?
Yeah.
We'll keep the bulletin there, And I forgot whether the new books are it, or the next issue of books will be the printing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this was probably the biggest error. Anybody, Eric Trelin, who runs all the Aero Clubs, he says that's the first time he's ever seen them make that big of a mistake. They've made little mistakes, but not like this one. This is a pretty good sized one. So just be aware of that if you use that book. Okay, real quick, we do go over the SOPs a paragraph at a time during the safety meeting, just to kind of make you aware. As you know, everybody's supposed to be reading that book anyhow. When you signed that little agreement paper that said you did. Okay, no-show procedures is where we're at right now, and basically what it says is that a failure to appear within 15 minutes after the reserved time that you actually have down, especially on Flight Schedule Pro, and technically we can count you as a no-show, and we are supposed to charge you, or at least by the SOP, charge you 30 minutes worth of flying time if you don't show. We've only had a few people do that, okay? We hardly have it happen at all. However, we are hitting one individual who's not here tonight, but he not only was a no-show, he never even called us or ever got a hold of us and never told us. And we actually lost revenue on that airplane because somebody came in about a half hour later and was afraid to take the airplane because he was afraid he might take it away from this individual. And so we ended up losing all the way around. So that individual we are charging. Normally we don't. We try not to. We try to be friendly about it. We just say, okay, well, you know, and most people in traffic, we understand the traffic, believe me. We get caught up in it too. Everybody does. And so you might be late for that reason. And if that's so, great. Most of us all have cell phones. Try to give us a call if something ends up happening where you can't get in there.
While you're driving, pull over the side of the road.
Yeah, that's right, because Kevin Dennard's not here tonight, but he's a CHP officer, and he will be hearing this on the tape. So, oh, you are there. Oh, I didn't see you. See, you are sneaky, aren't you? Were you the one that used that big light on me the other day? Yeah, I was in the middle of the night and somebody spotted, one CHP officer spotted. I almost gave you a call. Anyhow, okay, and then if you got an instructor, in other words, if you're a student or just getting a check write-in, you also are going to be paying for the instructor because he shows up out there and it's his time. I know John would agree with me on that one, so you're going to pay for his time. Any questions on this?
Let me just interject some stuff. Now, we know that weather creates a problem. And if we got weather here, we're not going to say anything. You cannot go into the computer 24 hours prior to your reservation and make a cancellation. You got to make a phone call or leave a message on the answer machine. So the new SOPs, which are being signed, cover this very extensively. And I want everybody's going to have to read the new SOPs. They're longer and they cover more information. So we'll have when it gets back out, the signature from Colonel Muncie, and we'll put it back out and make everybody read it and sign for it. Thank you.
Okay. Apparently an Aero Club airplane got hit with a laser. We have no idea where, when. He hasn't given us that information yet. But somebody did get lased. So basically, that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is that. And in case you think that this laser I got in my hand couldn't cause a problem, it in a lesser way it probably can, but it does have a warning right here on the side here. It says warning. Do not, I can't read it because I shot myself with it.
Shot in your eye.
I shot in my eye. Yeah. That's exactly what I did.
It wasn't you that got it.
It was me, yeah, that's what it was. Laser, it will,
Quit pointing that thing at me.
basically, it's,
That one's good for 400 feet. It's a real low wire.
oh, this is not even hardly 400 feet. I think it's about 400 feet. But this usually what it is that these things here are very low wattage and it
So you're
doesn't
doing
have a
that
whole
from the
lot.
office when they taxi in, is that what you use?
That's what I use that for, yes. Yeah, you just kind of go like this. For the most part, you know, these kind of things happen at nighttime, of course. Usually it doesn't do it very good at daytime. But as Eric Treeland put up there, handle that like an emergency. Because basically it is. Somebody out there who's doing it on purpose has got well, for various reasons, probably have no clue what they're why they're doing it. Most of the time it's kids. But there are some people out there that are deliberately doing it on purpose to try to laze an airplane, especially the commercials, if they get, you know, upset at that kind of thing. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people in some of these airports that hate our type of airplanes too. It doesn't have to be a 4-engine jet. It can be just your little T-34 or T-41A, and they would love to see all these airports be shut down all over the place around here. I mean, we're not, aviation in this country has been put down at the bottom of just about everything because most people don't fly. Most people don't see the necessity of having airplanes or an airport. And so that's why you see a lot of these airports trying to be shut down. So you have people out there try to prove their point by doing things like this. And we'll go over a little bit more of what this sentence here is talking about, but the FBI is the primary people that does the investigation of these incidences. They are the primary government agencies, what I'm trying to say. Okay. If you hear on the frequency that somebody else has got lays, stay clear of the area. Just stay away for at least 20 minutes. I guess for the most part, for any of the 3,000 incidences that so far that's been reported, that usually it's only for a short period of time because the person doesn't want to get caught. They usually, because it could be quite bad for them, unless they're just little kids that don't really know what's going on.
Can I add to that point, Roger?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was flying down to Montgomery Field, what was it, a couple nights ago?
Yeah.
4 nights ago. And we just passed Palomar going into Montgomery. And we heard 2 private jets on the frequency going into Palomar, and they both got lays going in.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like one right after the other one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Kind of reiterates your point there.
Exactly, and what they do is they will do it in bunches. They'll have a bunch of airplanes, and
Quite a few out here. I listen to the radio.
Yeah.
On the tower here, and they get quite a few complaints at night. A lot of the helicopters get lazed out.
Oh yeah, especially the helicopters.
They do
Yeah.
pinpoint. I listen to the cops in the helicopters sometimes. They do pinpoint.
They oh yeah. Like I said, FBI is the one that's in charge, and of course you gotta let somebody know, and let them know as soon as possible. And we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Whoops, don't need that one. Okay, there are legitimate lasers, and everybody's been to many, football games and all kinds of different events where they'll use lasers, illuminations and stuff. Up until just a few years ago, a lot of these events caused a lot of problems. And I know with LAX, they a lot of the commercials were coming in there and they get lased. It wasn't on purpose. It was just an event that they just got hit. Well, FAA came out with actually the order 7400-2, Part 6, has been there, but they revised it now. And so now what they got is that they've got several different, let me use my laser. They broke it down into what they call sensitive flight zone, and then critical flight zone, and then laser free zone. And it has to do with how much wattage they can use within those zones. So like, and I'll show you a picture of the zones here in a second, but the sensitive zone is 100 microwatt per square centimeter, and the critical zone, the most they can use is 5 microwatts per centimeter, and then the laser free zone, the most that they can use is 50 nanowatts per centimeter. And that may sound all kind of great to you, but basically what it looks like is just a kind of a thing like that. The runway's down here, you got 5 miles over here. This is a laser free zone. Basically what they're saying is that nobody can have light shows here with lasers. How many has been to the laser light show in Disneyland? Nobody? Oh, you're kidding. Kevin had. Well, I know Kevin should have been. Yeah, you've been to all kinds of stuff. John, you have too? Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of neat to see. It really is. They can't do it within 5 miles of an airport. Now they got the critical flight zone, which is the max is your 5 nanowatts. And that goes another 5 miles up, and then up to, 8,000 feet? And then you got the sensitive flight zone, which is the max is 100 nanowatts per square centimeter. And that goes up to, what is that? It's got to be 10,000 feet.
100 microwatts. It's micro,
Yeah.
and nano. Nano's on the
No, wait, yeah, no, that's microwatts. Yeah, that's microwatts. I knew I'd get it all
Are we
backwards.
supposed to tell that when they laser us how many watts it is? Or?
Yeah, well, that's what you're supposed to do. No, this is legal stuff, okay?
They want you to look at it, David, and then tell you how much it's worth.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. I think your pen must be a nano. Is that what that is?
This one I hear, no, this one here is, no, this is what they call, micro, no, this is the other one. I got it right here. It tells what this thing is.
I did.
Anyhow, all right, now, misuse is what we're talking about more than anything, because basically when they change this regulation, or not, I want to call it regulation, you can tell I got the Air Force, this FAA Order 7400, that pretty much eliminated the legal stuff. But as you well know, and just like what you were just talking about, David and Chris, is that we're dealing with misuse and the people who are ignorant or malicious. And so that's one of the things that we really have to watch out for. We have had a huge increase of these things like this. But we also had a huge increase of 500 megawatts can be sold on the market and even online without having to have any kind of special anything to do it, as long as it's labeled warning, danger, like it is on my little one here. As long as it's got that label, it's perfectly fine. If it doesn't have it, then you can't buy it. Yeah, so how do you enforce that? Well, let's see, on January 12, 2005, response, okay, that what they did is they came out with the advisory circular 70-2A, which I have several up here. If anybody wants a copy of it, you can take one. And what this does is tell you how to report a laser hit, okay? It's extremely important for you to do so if you do get hit. That's it right there, and I just showed it to you. Now you can see it up on the screen too. Okay. Increase of laser hit. There was a 300% increase of laser hits from 2005 to 2008. It's a 3-year period. Some of the increases, of course, may be because of the awareness of the pilots having the problem, but also the increase is also because of the availability of these things, especially the more powerful ones. And believe me, it's so easy to buy. I know I went online and I could have bought anything, on there. Let's see. At one time, of course, these were used for, this. now, you know, they go up like I said up there. They got up to 500 megawatts, and just like I said, all it has to have on there is the warning. That's all it has to have on there, and you can buy one. That's what some of them look like. It looks like flashlights. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't see it real well, can you? It's like a flashlight. It looks just like a flashlight, and it's pretty high beam, and it can do some real far out there stuff. The laser reports show that the handheld lasers are primary green, 91% in color, as opposed to the red. And the problem with this is that it's fascinating. When I was looking through this, it was actually, scientifically wise, it's very fascinating. But I didn't want to bore you guys with that end of it. But basically what happens is that when your eye gets dark adapted, the range of these lasers here, which happens to be right around the wavelength of 532 nanometers in the wavelength, happens to be just about the place where your eye is adapted to night vision. And when this thing goes off, a green laser especially, it may appear as much as 35 times brighter than a red laser of equal power. So you're talking about the color side or the wavelength of this thing. Due to this heightened visibility, the increased likelihood of adverse visual effects illuminate by a green laser may result in more events being reported. The green lasers are the ones that just can really mess up everything in your vision. And there are several different ways that it can do that. And how many of you have had flash light bulbs, you know, flash in your eyes? Especially in the old days. You younger guys probably don't know what I'm talking about when you're talking about light bulbs.
You mean the powder thing?
Yeah, right, yeah. Yes, Scott. These lasers will do things like where you can't see anything for a while. And when you're flying an airplane, especially if you're by yourself, that does not do real well. Commercial airliners have a procedure that, you know, the co-pilot takes over or vice versa. If you're flying our airplanes, you know, maybe it's a good idea you might bring another person with you anyhow. Because that just might be, you know, a good thing to do. Let's see. Illumination reports often describe several types of adverse effects, and this includes visual effects of 8.2% pain and possible injury. That's kind of low, but it can happen. And operational problems is 3.2%. The operational problems, of course, is just like what I was just talking about, momentary distraction from your flying. Most of these things take place at 2,000 feet from the ground, and especially when you're coming in for a landing. And if you're coming in for a landing and you get lased, you know, you might have some problems. My suggestion is don't land or try to land at that point. Try to get, you know, you might want to pull up. Some of the injuries have been really bad. So far as permanent damage, it's very, very, very low on the list. But the damage is enough to, short period damage can, of course, crash an airplane, and for the obvious. And that puts you and your passengers and anybody else on the ground in danger. So that's the thing you want to watch out for. Laser events can occur anywhere. However, they are most frequent, take a wild guess, Western Pacific and the southern regions of the United States. So here in California, we have a lot of weird people here. especially here. And as David brought up, you know, yeah,
Here
well,
tonight in this room?
yeah. Well, I won't, yeah, I'm not gonna commit to that. Near airports mostly frequently are near airports and observed in clusters. Cluster laser attacks are multiple strikes on one or several airplanes, which is what Chris was talking about. These attacks may last a few minutes or be spread over several days or weeks. Obviously, it's all predicated on how the people do it, how they feel, and how they want to get involved in it, and all that kind of stuff. You're talking about people. 70% of all the incidents were between 2,000 and 10,000 feet, AGL. 22% occurs in November and December, and 70% in the hours of 7 to 11 p.m. So, it's summertime. We shouldn't have to worry about it, right? No, I don't think so. Okay, FAA notification procedures. FAA ATC facilities are routinely connected to DEN. How many here know who these guys are? Domestic Events Network. Does anybody know who they are? The Air Force guys should know, but may not. Okay, what it is, I researched it today, and after going through a bunch of passwords and top secret stuff, I found out that DEN is an organization that's in the FAA who works with Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, and everybody that's in that big network there. And it has to do, take a wild guess who's the people that do the TFRs. These guys right here, these DEN guys. They're the ones that are heavily involved in setting those things up. So anyhow, everything gets reported to this part of the FAA. And so that's why it's really important to make sure you get all your information correct too. All other FAA TC facilities will report unauthorized laser illumination through the Washington Operations Center complex, which is to the DEN again. All right, so you've learned something. DEN, remember that.
I know where my taxes are going, another acronym.
Yeah, Domestic Events Network. Okay, the ATC, what time is it? Report will include event date, time, and universal coordinated time, operator flight number, type aircraft, pretty much everything that you can think of. It's very important to make sure that you let them know what color the laser is. Because that can also pinpoint, you know, the person there or people that might be involved in the thing. If you can, you get your latitude, longitude. Most of the time, you know, in our airplanes, it's going to be kind of hard to get some of that information. But for the most part, you know, if you know where you're at, I mean, if you, like you guys that fly the T-34, and a lot of you students go to the same place, and so, you know, you kind of have an idea where you're at. Let's see, what else do I want to cover? The laser event occurs in the vicinity of FAA ATC terminal facility. The ATC will broadcast on appropriate control frequencies, and they will broadcast the phrase unauthorized laser illumination event and general position of where this thing took place. It will broadcast every 5 minutes for 20 minutes, 4 times, for each reported event. So if you're with the tower, make sure you let them know that you've been lased, and they will do just exactly what's up there. However, if you, the automatic terminal will also announce it at least 1 hour following the report of the event, and of course it's the exact same description, unauthorized laser illumination event. That's the key phrase. Event time and the general description is also there. Let's see. I thought it was up there. But if you get lased outside of ATC control, then you do the announcement. You do Do the same thing as it is up there. Announce it on Unicom, the appropriate Unicom that you're on, and announce unauthorized laser illumination event, and give the same information. Give the time and Z, or UTC, and the general description of the event, the color, intensity, and so forth, and the direction too. And so that your fellow pilots who are flying around out there won't get caught up in it either. Okay, if you're lazy, what do? You anticipate, avoid the area, obviously. Aviate, very important. Try to keep the airplane flying if you can. If you got somebody else in the cockpit with you, then obviously turn over to them, especially if they know how to fly. If they don't know how to fly, most people, I find, can at least keep the wings level. If they're non-pilots, maybe you should brief that to them beforehand, just in case, right? You know, this is how you keep the plane level. And in case something like this happens. Navigate. Use the fuselage of the aircraft to block the laser beam by climbing and turning away. Well, you can kind of do that with a high-wing airplane or a low-wing airplane. Actually, the T-34s have it a little bit better because they got the low wing. The Cessna, a little more difficult to do that with your wing because it's high wing. So, communicate, biggie. Inform air traffic control of the situation, just like we talked about earlier. Include the direction and location and all that. Air crews fly, there's my uncontrolled airspace. Just as I mentioned before, airspace requested immediately, broadcast a general laser illumination caution on Unicom, and go unauthorized laser illumination, event time, and general description. On the communicate, after you get down, it might behoove you to maybe get online and find out what this thing says and how to report it. There is a form that you do fill out. It is quite lengthy, and you can do it online. And this form right here is like 5 pages long. It goes into great detail in reporting the incident. That's after you get down, of course. If anybody wants to look at it, it'll be right here. Let's see. Illuminate. Turn up the cockpit lights.
No, quick question on that, Roger.
Yeah.
To fill out that form, is that, if you're not talking with ATC, if you're just on a CTAF frequency, is that my understanding?
Well, no. This is for all of them, whether it's
okay.
ATC or not. Yeah. This is reporting the incident after you get. It's just like anything that happens. If you
Kind of
don't.
wondering ATC would do it for you, that'd be great.
Yeah. No. Because it's got to come from the source, the person who actually got blazed. Yeah. Because they don't know. They may not have seen it. So if you're flying into a situation like that, you might want to turn up the cockpit lights. That lessens it. Okay, one of the things that the green light does is that it shines, and Eric Treeland brought this up, is that when they laze the front of a Cessna, it makes that whole front windshield into like a green television screen. It just scatters in the Cessna plexiglass, and you can't see anything. So that's more apt to happen to you than you getting hit in your own eye. But you might end up having this, and then of course once you've lost your night vision, then you got to recover from that too. So one of the ways to combat that is illuminate the cockpit. At least bring up your lights enough to where you can, and then just as you coming in for a landing, then you can just get rid of the lights. Delegate. If another crew member has avoided the exposure, consider handing the airplane over to the other person. And we talked about that already. Attenuate, shield your eyes, of course. Obviously you're going to be probably doing that anyhow. Don't look directly at the laser. Turn your head and try to avoid drawing other crew members' attention into it. So like if you got a passenger and they're not getting hit, you might want them to say, just shield your eyes or get your head down. Do not exasperate. In other words, don't rub your eyes if you did get lased and it did get shot into your eye. Do not rub your eyes because it makes it worse. Evaluate. Basically, see an eye doctor if you think that the laser got into your eye. Don't mess around with it. That's the questionnaire. That's the 1-5 Foxtrot. That's after it got lased. Yeah, let's see if I have anything else. I don't want to miss anybody. Questions? Well, I'm.
A couple things to add to that.
Yeah.
I've been lased a couple times, and it's like passing a wreck on the freeway. Your eyes just want to look at it and keep staring at it all the time. So just realize that if you see a strong light coming from the ground, maybe don't take a long look at it. Realize, hey, this might be a laser, and maybe look at it with just one eye open, one eye closed. So that'll help out a lot in doing any permanent damage or long-term damage. Also, the FAA is serious about this stuff. The FBI jailed a guy in Fresno for a year for lasing a police helicopter. So they figured out where he was and caught him and threw him in jail. And I have heard that the FAA does have a $10,000 reward for helping to find someone who lases a plane.
That's about to start flying now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call these
So on that, this is not legal advice and I'm not your lawyer, but lasing an aircraft in California is worth up to 3 years in state prison, 13 if there's injury. So if somebody burns your eye, they can go to the House of Large for up to 13 years. That would be bad. Federally, it's up to 5 in federal prison, and you don't get conduct credits in Fed, so you'll be doing all 5 of them. And the $10,000 that is the reward comes out of the offender's pocket. So, not legal advice, not your lawyer, but
Thanks a
One more
lot.
thing, in addition to filling out the form that you mentioned, also tell one of these gents too, so that they can report it to the local safety office at March, because we keep
Yeah.
track of it as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, can we is there any rules against us lasing them back from the cockpit?
Yeah. Wait till you see my questions that I ask on the people that watch. You know how many of you know you can watch this on the YouTube. Once Jason gets up there and gets it on, yeah, and
There's openings for the recorder. There's a vacancy.
Yeah. Jason disappears to Korea all the time, and so.
They gotta realize also that pencil doesn't stay that size. It fans out as distance increases.
Oh, yeah.
They'll go over
Yeah.
100 miles. Some of the ones you buy today will go over 100 miles. So if you think a pencil is gonna be a half an inch when it hits you, know it may be a couple 100 feet wide when it hits you in the airplane.
They have the ones at the hardware store for levels and stuff, and those things shoot out quite a ways too, because I can hit the tree across.
Oh,
the
those
street.
things, yeah, yeah, no kidding.
There's no airplane in between.
And you can get them a lot bigger than what was mentioned. I
Oh yeah.
might know somebody that knows one.
Well, you might know somebody. Yeah, if you want to see Ken Benner, he'll sell you one.
It's only 2,400 milliwatts.
Now I lost my train of thought. Okay, if you want to see any of these things are up here. Don't forget to sign the book or the paper or whatever you call that sign-in sheet. And there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember now. So maybe I'll remember. All right.
Next meeting.
Next meeting, yeah.
Third Tuesday.
We're released.
Somebody I know really.